Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here with blah, 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 blah. And welcome to my blind reaction to Wandering Sun, episodes 6 and 7. So, I had been talking about in the past with reactions to this, that, sorry if I bumped that by the way, that this was a very slow series, and it definitely is. As you may have noticed, we haven't reacted to this in a few weeks now, mostly because of other issues coming up back on Fridays when this was originally scheduled, before I switched the schedule around. But another reason, honestly, is lack of, not interest, but just lack of excitement over it. And I've mentioned this before, I know I have. But the series is very, very slow paced, to the point where it's really difficult to sit through a lot of the time. The story and everything is great. The characters, the realistic depiction of trans people and their just well, transition and realizing it is amazing. It's done really well. But the actual presentation of the episodes, the way the scenes are handled, is really freaking slow. And because of it, it is one of those shows that, even though it is well done, I have a hard time finding the energy, interest, and excitement to keep going a lot of the time. And I've also said in the past how there's been a lot of times where it's like, with this kind of series, where it's like, oh, I have a hard time getting into it, and then, but when I do actually watch another episode, it's like, oh yeah, I'm glad I watched this. And this series has definitely been like that as well. But at the same time, it's still one of those shows that is extremely slow. Excuse me. And the point I'm trying to make with all of this is that, especially with these few weeks we've had off, my interest in reacting to this series has really dropped. Not my interest in the series as a whole, just in terms of watching it, but in specifically reacting to it. And my interest has dropped, again, not out of reason for the quality of the series, but rather the just overall presentation of the pacing and everything, and how slow it feels. It's like every time I watch an episode, it feels like I'm watching 2 or 3, because it feels that slow. I have to check the time constantly. And that's not something I like to do when I'm watching anything. I like to get invested and enveloped in the show. And even with a show that has such a great story and such a great depiction as this, you can still kind of, again, not lose interest, but lose your excitement over it, to the point where you almost feel like you don't really want to continue reacting. And I'm saying all this because, as you know, I took up this stance recently about how I'd been dropping shows without good reason, and that I didn't want to do that anymore, and that I would only drop a show if I really had no interest in continuing, for whatever reason that might be. But I had to have, like, again, as I've stated in some past videos, less than 10% interest in continuing to react to the series. And the problem is, again, even though I think this is a good series, my interest in reacting to it is dropping. The pacing, just in my eyes, isn't working for reactions. And if I do end up dropping this, of course I'll watch it on my own time, but it's not something I would react to. It's kind of like this. If you remember, there was a little bit of time where I tried reacting to some live action shows, such as Goosebumps and Supernatural. Well, I've continued to watch Supernatural, but at my own pace. And Goosebumps, I mean, I just really haven't continued to watch much of any more, but I'd seen a lot of it already when I was a kid, so. Um, but yeah, Supernatural, I've continued watching at my own pace, but there's even times where I can't watch more than one episode at a time because the way episodes of Supernatural set up, it's, in my eyes, not good for marathoning. And as such, it doesn't feel like great for reactions. The pacing of it is slower. I mean, longer episodes as well. And it's just, it's a great series, a phenomenal series, but it's not the best for reactions. And I feel like Wandering Sun might be the same kind of thing. But we're gonna test that idea and find out today with episodes 6 and 7. And I can tell you right now that this is determinant factor here, that Wandering Sun is on the edge of being dropped. It is in the warning section of things. And again, I don't like to say that, but and again, this time it's not just because I'm underwhelmed by the series or that it's kind of meh for me. This time it's legit. It's a legitimate reason. It's because my interest in it is dropping to nearly that point. And again, only in reacting to it. My interest in watching the series on my own time is still pretty damn high. But in terms of reactions, not so much. In fact, quite the opposite, pretty damn low. But again, we'll see where it goes. We'll see if it continues to improve or do anything better with these 2 episodes. But this will determine whether I will continue or not. And since this is episodes 6 and 7 out of 12 total, this is probably the point where we have to make that decision. Where we have to decide if we are going to continue or if we are going to just drop it from reactions and watch it on our own time. And I can't stress enough that it's not because of the series itself. It's not because of the story or the characters or the depiction. All of that is phenomenal. It's just the pacing that makes it really hard to find the energy and interest in reacting to. But we'll see. Like I said, we'll see how these 2 episodes go, and if it confirms my thoughts here, then we are going to drop it, and we'll move on to the next series, the next poll. If it surprises me and ends up being great reaction-worthy stuff that I really feel was worth it, then we'll continue. And here's the thing. If I do end up dropping it as well from reactions, when I finish it on my own time, I might end up doing a review of it. Because it is still important enough to talk about. Even if I don't actually do reactions anymore for it. But like I said, we'll see. We'll find out. Either way, thank you so much for tuning in. And for now, we're just going to get this started. So when the screen fades to black...
6, coming soon.
Pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts, and will contain spoilers to the episode. Well, episodes. That being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, first off, you may notice I did 3 episodes instead of just the 2 that I said I was going to do. It was kind of unintentional. It just kind of worked out that way. I had the next one downloaded, and I was at that point interested enough to see more. The first episode was the best of these three by far, with the cultural festival and the play. It felt like a good payoff to that build-up and kind of gave us some hints that Mako might be trans as well. Um, and I think I mentioned before about that possibility, but that until something actually came out of it, I wasn't going to like refer to Mako other than, you know, how he's been referred to, you know, he, him pronouns. I refer to our two main characters other than what they're referred to in the show because obvious reasons. But yeah, with Mako, I wanted to kind of hold back. But there's definitely some hints in this. It might not even come to anything. It might not. We'll just kind of have to see, and if something does come of it, awesome. Now, I also mentioned in my pre-thoughts the possibility of dropping this from reactions. And I want to bring this up right away because I feel like I should. I will be. I'm going to be dropping this from reactions right away. And again, as I made pretty sure, as I made clear in my pre-thoughts, pretty sure, like what? I'm not dropping it because I don't like the show. I'm dropping it because I don't really have interest in continuing reacting to it. I feel like this show isn't good for reactions. It's because here's the thing. I think I mentioned this in my first episode, ReDirect and everything, my pre-thoughts or whatnot. I had been wanting to see the show for a long time because of what it's about. I didn't know what kind of show it was going to be like or what it was going to be like in general. And after watching now 8 episodes, most of the series, it's really been made clear that while I like the series, it is not good for reactions. And I can tell you right now, I don't even remember half of the stuff. I don't know how to talk about it. I've had that problem pretty much every week, it seems. I don't know how to talk about it. I think the last reaction, I actually had to look up the synopsises just to remember all the details about what happened, all the character names, all of that. And it's just like, I don't want to be in that situation, you know? I don't want to be in the situation where I'm having to look up all of that stuff every time. And I don't want to have to be in a situation where if I don't look it up, I'm just completely blanking out on what to say about these episodes. It's worrisome. But I can talk about a few things here and there. And I will in just a moment here. But I again, do want to bring that up because I am dropping this due to my interest in reacting to it going to less than 10%. Not my interest in watching the show. I will continue to watch it on my own time, and when I finish, I'll post a review. I will post a review giving my overall final thoughts on it. It'll probably be a short review. I will probably have trouble figuring out exactly what to say and everything. But I'll do that because I want to make sure that I do finish things off with this. Now, I did say I was going to look up the character, the teacher, from the show In Between, and I actually forgot to do that, so I'm going to look it up right now. His name is Manabu Saisho. I typed it into Google and right away. And I was right. I was completely right on his voice. I said before in past reaction stuff, it's like, he kind of sounds like Kazuya Nakai. And it is. It is Kazuya Nakai. No joke. If you don't know Kazuya Nakai, he's an amazing voice actor who's probably his biggest role, I would have to say, is probably Roronoa Zoro from One Piece. He is the voice of Zoro, but let's see other examples. He's Ryuji Suguro from Ao no Exorcist. That's another notable one. He's in, apparently he's in Boruto. I haven't seen enough of that, so I don't know who the character Urashiki Otsutsuki is. Um, Apparently he's the Japanese voice of Mogi from Death Note. I prefer the dub of Death Note, so that I actually don't. I think I've seen the original Japanese for Death Note once. So that's not easy for me to remember. I know he was in Death Parade. I actually do remember him being in Death Parade. Ooh, he's actually in a couple Digimon series. He's in Dragon Ball Super as someone named Tagoma. I lost a lot of interest in Dragon Ball, so. But he was in the Resurrection F movie, too. But again, the Japanese, and I don't watch. I never watch Dragon Ball in Japanese. I do not like the voices. Oh, he's Miles in Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. I could see him as Miles. That fits. That is definitely a fitting character for him to voice. He's in Gintama as Hijikata Toshiro, or Toshiro Hijikata. I don't know Gintama that well, so I don't know who that is. But for those of you who do, he's Jan Valentine in the original Hellsing. Really, that's an interesting one for him. That one is actually kind of out there, I feel. He's Zap Renfro in Kekkai Sensen. I think I do remember that. I did see the first season of Kekkai Sensen. Or Blood Blockade Battlefront, I think is the English name. Let's see. Continuing down. He's Furido in Naruto Shippuden. Oh, he's the narrator in Nichijou? I did not know that. Oh. Okay, he's other characters in One Piece as well, including a character who's gonna be coming up in the Whole Cake Island arc, I guess, because the character has the last name Charlotte, which, as we know, is Big Mom's last name. But he's also Drip. I did not know he was Drip. He's basically just a fake Sanji. He's Jigoro, who I believe was the zombie dude at Thriller Bark. He's the Kung Fu Dugongs? That's hilarious. He's quite a few characters from One Piece other than Zoro, but mostly Zoro. Look at all these credits for Zoro. He's in Persona 3, the movie. The first two. Didn't I react to one of those when I did my movie nights the first time? I think I did. I think it would have to be the first one. I don't remember much about it, so... he's the Japanese voice of Mugen in Samurai Champloo. I did know that. Apparently he's in the second season of Space Dandy. Again, the Japanese version. But yeah, he's in a lot. He has a huge resume. And Zoro definitely has got to be his biggest and most known role. So yeah, that was actually him. I'm so glad I caught that. Because the voicing he's doing on it is a little different. He's not as, I guess you could say, intense or gruff with his voice as he usually is. He's definitely a lot more held back, and I mean, it works for the character, so it makes sense. But yeah, that's awesome, and I'm glad I finally got to find that out for sure, now that I know his name. But yeah, so let's talk about a couple things from these episodes. I don't think they're probably going to be in order or anything necessarily. Well, I mean, they might be, I don't know. Okay, well, let's just go as we go. The play is the first big thing of note, because this had been built up, and as I mentioned, I thought it was a good payoff to that build-up. I like that Mako's stage fright continued into the play, because that's logical, considering everything we've seen, that Mako would have that stage fright. But I'm glad that that he was able to pick it up in the end and make something of it. Nitori and Takatsuki weren't really shown much or focused on during the play itself. It was mostly about Mako. And I kind of like that too, because Mako is one of the main supporting characters. And so I'm glad that there was such a good focus there. And that it didn't try to ruin it by also trying to focus too heavily on Nitori or Takatsuki. During the cultural festival, we also saw Yuki. Yuki being the one trans woman who's friends with Nitori and Takatsuki. We saw that she, I guess, wears a wig. Because normally when we see her, she has the long hair, but it's like she had short cut hair there. And then afterwards, she's back to the long hair again. So it's like, it must just be a wig. And that's perfectly reasonable. A lot of trans girls do wear wigs, especially if they're newer to being trans, but I don't think Yuki is. So I think it's just like maybe her hair doesn't grow out the way she wants it or likes it, which is very much possible. But it's like, yeah, it's like interesting. I don't really like the fact that she had to dress up as a guy to avoid, basically to avoid any controversial stuff happening. I think that's stupid, but at the same time, it's like, it's a thing that might happen. I just hate that she felt forced to do that. That bothers the hell out of me. The haunted house scene was cute as hell. Like, I thought that was funny. But let's get into Anna, or Anna. I've literally used both variations of the name when talking about her. I'm just going to say Anna because I like it better. I don't know, I just like the way it's said better. Anna is definitely one of my favorite characters. I love how accepting she is of Nitori. How, as they start dating and they become a couple and everything, she's completely fine with letting Nitori be who she is. And it's fantastic. It's really awesome to see that kind of acceptance. And I really like how their relationship starts to bloom. And it's like, it's not like this big schmaltzy romantic love story kind of thing. No. Honestly, that kind of thing would be more expected from Nitori and Takatsuki. Instead, what we got with this is more of a genuine friendship that they're like legitimately trying to go a little further with. Even the idea of kissing was brought up, and when Nitori asked Anna about it, she's like, well, do you want to kiss me? And it basically came across as like, if you want to, sure. And I think that's really cute and really good. It shows a lot of restraint and a lot of respect for each other to actually be asking that instead of just trying to go for it or anything. In a lot of these romantic comedy shows, in a lot of this isn't really a comedy, but in a lot of romantic comedy shows and a lot of romantic slice of lives, a lot of those first kisses are usually done kind of forcefully. They're just kind of like really thrust upon the characters. It's like, oh, even if they're dating beforehand, it's just like all of a sudden kiss out of nowhere. And it's meant to be this big, romantic, beautiful, cute scene. And in some cases it is, but it's also a little weird and forceful at the same time. So I actually like seeing them discussing it and like, are you comfortable with this? Do you want to do this? That is really respectful, and I love it. I just really enjoy their relationship, seeing their dates. I love the date where Nitori actually gets to dress up as a girl, and they have the glasses, and it's so fucking cute. Anna's outfit in that is so fucking cute as well. Although Chiba tries to ruin it, apparently, because she just tries to ruin everything. I talked about this plenty of times in the past. I don't like her. And I think I mentioned there's a partial reason because I used to be like her. Very deprecating, very, oh, pity me, I'm so terrible kind of person. I used to be like that in a lot of ways, but I think that's exactly the reason I don't like her. Because I hated that part of myself, and I hate that I used to be like that. So seeing other people like that bothers me. Because, I mean, honestly, it reminds me of myself. And I don't want to be reminded of myself in that situation. So it's like, yeah, I really don't like her. And especially a lot of the time, she's just trying to cause trouble. Like the entire beer thing, it's like, oh, order me a draft beer, knowing full well that, oh, they're underage. They're middle schoolers. They're not going to get a fucking draft beer. There's no. And I mean, Anna's like joking about it first. It's like, sure, sure, I'll order it. Like joking around, but uh, then we see Chiba push it further. It's like, no, no, you're actually serious about this? And it's like, oh my God, Chiba, stop. She didn't want a beer. I don't think she wanted a beer at all. I think she was just trying to cause trouble. She was being a bitch. She didn't want to be there. She was upset at the situation, and she wanted to cause trouble to break it all apart, possibly to even break up Nitori and Anna, because it's very clear she still has feelings for Nitori. Though there was a little bit of a hint that maybe she and Takatsuki could get together, which would be a very interesting way to end this off at. Her and Takatsuki getting together and Nitori and Anna being together, that would be really different because we just expect Nitori and Takatsuki to end up together. It even kind of hinted that with Yuki, saying like when it was revealed that Nitori asked Takatsuki out and was rejected, even Yuki's like, oh, maybe it was just the wrong time. So it's like even the other characters are expecting it. I like that Takatsuki was finally able to gain up the nerve to wear the male uniform to school, the one that Yuki gave him. And I think that's really great progression on his part, especially considering the dysphoria we've seen him face in the past regarding his body and the fear he's had about wearing that to school. I mean, we even see when one of the teachers almost catches him, and it's like, oh, did you tie this yourself? And it's like, it was such a big wave of relief. I was nervous at that point. And I was actually almost getting upset because I really didn't want him to be called out on that. I did not want Takatsuki to be called out on that. And speaking of Takatsuki, I actually really do like his longer hairstyle that we started seeing in these episodes. I actually think it's really cute. It's not too long, but it's different, and it allows him to stand out a little more, you know? And we also had Nitori's sister, who's continuing to be a jackass, and she's like, oh, if you're going to continue to date Anna, you can never dress like that again. You have to be normal, because Anna's normal. And it's like, Anna's not normal, for one. Like, we see, they make a point out of it during one of Nitori's dates with her, that she's into some typically weird things. Some things that are not seen as normal. Which, again, is completely fine, and I actually like that about her. But yeah, it's like, I don't feel like, I feel like Nitori's sister is just an asshole. Like, she's just being an asshole to Nitori. And it's like, there's no real reason for it either. And then I do like how almost right after that, the entire thing about dressing up is brought up to Anna. She's like, oh yeah, you want to do that? Let's do that. I like that. Anna's just great. We get to see a little bit of the other characters, of course, the other friends like Chi and whatnot. And they're always good. I like them. And yeah, I thought that these 3 episodes were honestly up until the last step of these 3 episodes, which was definitely a lot more slowly paced than the other 2. But the first 2 were definitely a lot more exciting and interesting than any episode before them, honestly. It really surprised me by how good they were. Um, and not that the last episode wasn't. Again, it was just really slow, and it's kind of the big reason why I am dropping this from reactions. I'm dropping this from reactions solely because it's way too slow paced, and I don't feel it's good for reactions. I mean, yes, I've had a lot to talk about in these afterthoughts, but that's 3 episodes worth. There are certain shows that I could talk this long with one half-length episode, like Steven Universe or Star Versus or whatnot. I could talk about one half-length episode, 11-minute episode, for this same amount of time with those shows. And it's taking 3 episodes for me to talk this much, and a lot of it hasn't even been solely about the episodes. There's been a lot of it just talking about the other stuff related to this reaction series. But yeah, as I said, I will continue watching it on my own time. Get through the final few episodes that are left. Let's see. There are 4 episodes left. So I'll get through the final 4 episodes on my own time, and then I'll put up a review of the series as a whole and my thoughts on how it ended and all of that jazz. I don't know how long that'll take to get to. It's just whenever I can get to the episodes, whenever I feel like it's a good time to watch it, that kind of stuff. I'm probably going to download them as well just ahead of time, so I'll just automatically have them in easy access and all. But yeah, so that means we will be moving on to a new poll for anime. And I do apologize as well for everyone who was enjoying me reacting to this series. I know, I believe Ronnie, you specifically were really enjoying my reactions to this series. Partially, I'm sure, because of how I relate and connect to these characters and stuff. And I understand, and I do apologize. And yeah, I did turn up the brightness, by the way. But I just feel like it's not one I want to react to anymore. Again, my interest in reacting to it specifically has gone below 10%. I think we finished reactions, though, on a good point. I think it was a good part to end at. Because I feel these final 4 episodes are probably going to be... something I would rather watch on my own for sure, because it's probably going to get into something big, I feel, for the final few episodes. But we'll see. We'll see. Either way, so, yeah. For the next poll, this is the first poll we're doing for the new style. And what exactly do I mean by that? Well, we're going to be doing it like I do with movie polls now, where I'm going to have the entire list of, in this case, anime, all of these different anime shows that I want to check out. I'm going to have this big old list, and I'm going to make a separate video in which I use a randomizer to determine what will be on the poll. There will be 5 options on the poll, as normal, but they will be completely randomized every time from this point forward. And the same goes for the cartoon polls. This is to make it so that it's completely fair, and that we have a different variation of stuff each time, so that we can experience different kinds of things, you know? And I think it's going to work out for the best. So, that being said, I will post the video up for that, if I can tonight as well. But if not tonight, then tomorrow for sure. I don't know even what time you're seeing this, because, as you know, things have been taking forever to upload. So, yeah, I'll try to get up the other video as well tonight, if I can. But yeah, I really do like this series. I want to stress that. I do like this series. I'm dropping it because I don't like reacting to it. And that's one of the only ways I'll drop a series now, is if my interest in either the series itself or in reacting to the series specifically drops below 10%. Because at that point, there's really no reason to continue. The only reason to continue at this point with this is only because there's 4 episodes left. the only way I'd be able to do it is if I did all 4 episodes in one go, honestly, I feel. And I really don't want to. I just really, really don't want to. So, yeah. That's what's going to happen. The poll video will be up, like I said, either tonight or if I can't get to it tonight, tomorrow. But that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for supporting this series. And this is a great and just really important series for anime, and I love that they did it. And I hope that it gets more attention, because it really doesn't have enough. But in the meantime, thank you so much for tuning in, like I said. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles,